What's up, everybody? It is player profile time here, and we've got a young man that we have been chasing like the dragon for the last 4 years. A young man who committed very early to play baseball at the next level, and as of this fall, will be doing just that. But he's got some things to do before that, ladies and gentlemen. The Rocket, the one, the only, Mister Carson Rhodes. Well, maybe. See, we go. There we go. There we go.
How we
What's up?
doing?
What's up, Cars? How are you, dude?
Good. I'm doing good. How about you?
Listen, if I was any better, I would be named Carson Rhodes. The Salem Quakers. Listen, you guys. I don't know if you just sandbagged it all year and waited for the playoffs, or what is it? What it is? But you look at what this team is now. As soon as the playoffs hit, you guys are a completely different team. Can you explain that to us? How this Quaker team went from struggling during the season to absolutely captivating everybody on YSN.
Yeah. During the season, we were very inexperienced. Have a lot of young guys. So obviously, me and a couple other of the senior guys really tried to rally around and get the guys just to learn the game. Like some of them don't have all the baseball knowledge that all these guys that played, in 2021 and 22 and made those playoff runs have. But I feel like once we got in the tournament, we've really brought a lot of energy, like rallying every pitch behind everybody. And I feel like the biggest key to how we've been winning in the tournament right now is our defense. Like when I would pitch before, we'd make a couple errors, and obviously, that's frustrating as a pitcher. But in the tournament, it's been crazy how much different our defense has gotten. We've had a guy quit. We've had a kid that hasn't really been playing much varsity. He started on varsity and then hasn't been playing now. We went through a lot of obstacles this year, but everybody had to step up and make plays. And right now we're kind of making plays at the perfect time.
Yeah, it seems you talk about your defense a lot. You talk about that leadership from the top down.
Yeah.
I would argue that this team turned the corner. Uh, that Mooney win. That Mooney win was a big win, a dramatic, a walk off, and then all of a sudden we're doing right up after right up after right up. That Salem walks it off. Salem walks it off. Salem, it squeaks out. I mean, for you, do you think there was an advantage playing in so many close games throughout this season to now? You guys really don't think about it as these games are tighter as you guys go further in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I feel like just like you said, squeaking through all those games and kind of rallying at the end there to win those games has helped us a lot. And I feel like from the mental side also, it's a big thing. Like obviously me and another player, Lance Bailey, we played on that 2021 team that made it to the regional final. So like earlier in the tournament, it's not as nerve wracking. But I was talking to like our sophomore outfielder Gavin Colbert, and he was like, "Holy crap! Like that last game, 3-2, it was nerve wracking, man." And I was like, "Yeah, like it definitely, as a young guy like that, it definitely racks up your nerves." But just like you said, I feel like getting in those close games has helped us a lot to make these tournament games not as big as what they really feel like.
I've been really impressed with you and Lance. I mean, to me, arguably one of the best 1-2 punches in a rotation, not only in this area, not only in this region, maybe the state.
Yeah.
You only need really 2 to 3 pitchers to get through in the playoffs, especially when you got two guys that'll go deep into the game like you and Lance do. You said it earlier. You guys have conversations. You've been through the wars. You've been through some of these battles. What have you and Lance talked about kind of on the side that said, hey, we've got to take these young Quakers under our arms and we've got to kind of show them the way. I mean, you talked about some of the conversations you had. These guys are like, oh, these one-run games. You've been through some of the absolute wars. You go back to the Canfield game a couple years ago,
Yeah.
in the playoffs, the upset that a lot of people talk about. For you and Lance, what conversations do you have, and do you guys can you like look at each other and say, hey, okay, we're down one, but we're gonna get through this?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like for me and him, obviously there's a couple other senior guys that
Sure.
will help us too with that, but I feel like me and Lance being on that team is really what makes us out to the leaders we are today. Like watching, even for me, just watching Lane, my brother, lead that team the way he did and those senior guys. And then even in 2022, we made it to districts or whatever. Watching those guys lead us the way he did, I mean, obviously we knew how to make it that far. And to make it that far, we have to have leaders. And I feel like that's kind of been a big thing with me and him, just keeping everybody under control and keeping everybody in it every single pitch.
What are some of the main things, the main topics you guys discuss at practice? I mean, the clutch hitting, it seems like you have down. You've got the pitching down. What things have you guys had to work on this year during practice, during games even, that you've really been able to sit back and go, okay, we have gone from below average to above average in this category?
Yeah. The biggest thing I'd say is doing just the little things right. If it's making errors or just like even putting down a bunt, like our coach will have anybody lay down a bunt any given moment. I mean, I feel like those are two of the biggest things, just the little things with us. Obviously, we have the arms to make it far. We have, I mean, most of our bats have came around. We get the timely hits we need to. So I feel like it's just the little things of making errors, not walking a lot of guys, and just getting bunts down when we need to.
I know you and I have talked about it off the air, but for you, I mean, you made the decision to go to Virginia Tech very early in your
Yeah.
career, and you've had kind of everybody chasing you. You've gotten everybody's best punch. Every time you pitch, every time you go out there, everybody wants to hit off of you. They want to hit nukes so they can say, I hit off the kid that's going to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
How have you compartmentalized it? I mean, I'm sure you and your family have talked about this. This has brought a different level of adversity to what you've had to go through in your high school career, following one of the probably greatest high school careers at Salem High School in the baseball category. I mean, how have you been able to deal through all the twists and turns that you've had to go through?
Yeah, it's been a ride for sure, but I'd say like the biggest thing that's different is just like every team is so fired up every time I pitch. Like even that first game in the sectional semifinal against Kent Roosevelt. I mean, if I had one walk that game, but every ball I threw or like that walk, they would just get fired up and like the crowd would go wild. I think they brought their JV team with them too, so they had like 30 dudes in the dugout, but they were just going wild. And it's like I've learned to kind of block that out, take a couple deep breaths between every pitch. But I feel like that's the biggest thing. Just other teams love it when I don't succeed against them, I guess.
Does that give you a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit more juice
Oh,
to go?
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you saw me in that game against Niles. Like they were, even Hoban, like when they were getting fired up, I don't know. I just get in a different mode. Like when people say stuff to me like that, it's just like, all right, I'm striking everybody out now.
Your level of maturity, you and I have talked about it off the camera, and you have gone from a starter your freshman year. You've gone through being the guy that everybody, like we just talked about, everybody wants a piece of. Been a guy that screams, not necessarily at people. You've got a little bit of that trash talk in you, which we can
Oh
appreciate.
yeah.
But you've kind of calmed it down. You've become like the old man in the dugout, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
Walk me through that maturity process and kind of what you've had to go through and how you have, kind of changed the game for yourself over the last 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, obviously as like a junior, freshman and sophomore, like watching our teams be good. And I feel like back then, like every single team was with that chirping thing. I feel like that's kind of when it started and it kind of died off pretty quick. But I mean, everybody was just chirping. And like, as our team, like we had guys that, kind of didn't play and they were kind of just there to just chirp. And that's what they wanted to do. So obviously as a freshman, like seeing everybody do that, like that's what I wanted to do. And then I'd say probably my junior year, we got our new coach, and he kind of came through with more of a discipline side of things. And then I just knew I had to lead the younger guys. And I mean, it's not a bad thing to do that, but if you're doing it in the wrong way, that's when it gets bad. So I feel like from that standpoint of things, I've kind of got more mature about that. Like it's more, I bring the energy to my own team instead of at other guys.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah.
I guess the natural next question is, what would Carson Rhodes this year say to Carson Rhodes 3 years ago as a freshman?
Well, I feel like with that team, it was kind of necessary, um, just because like everybody was going at us. So I don't know if I'd change anything about it, honestly.
Would you tell yourself? I mean, what conversation would you have with yourself? Would you say, all right, man, here, listen, everybody's going to be eyes on you for this
Oh yeah,
game or whatever. Like, just stop running your mouth for a second, or do more of this, do less of this.
yeah.
Would
I
you do
think
anything?
I think I would tell myself just to slow the game down more. Like especially after I committed. Some people say it takes a weight off their shoulders, but in another aspect of it, it puts kind of more onto you because like you feel like you got to go out there and shove every game and throw perfect every game. So I feel like I tell myself to not get so worried about the uncontrollables and just slow the game down how you know how or the way you know how to.
All right, naturally, we know you're going to Virginia Tech. Those are the plans that you have right now as you wrap up your season. Hopefully, you got a few more games in you.
Yeah.
Naturally, from our perspective, but for you, what's the excitement level when you're heading down that way and something you've been wanting to do for such a long time? Is it? Are you starting to get antsy?
Oh, I mean, I feel like right now it's a little antsy. I feel like after the season's over, it's going to be a lot more just because I'm not going to be playing any baseball, and it's like, oh, I want to get down there. But I mean, yeah, like you said, I committed really early, and I've been so excited just to get down there. And um, since I committed, they actually built like a new pitching lab. It was like a $2 million project, so that was cool to see. And I'm just excited to get down there and develop as a pitcher.
What are the plans for the summer? Are you playing for anybody?
No, they don't have freshman guys play for summer teams, but we might be going down on like a pitching and lifting program thing.
That's fair. And so I guess what are the expectations for yourself? I mean, you had expectations coming into high school,
Yeah,
obviously playing with your brother. Your brother's at YSU. You're going to be heading down to Virginia Tech. This is kind of where you have to have expectations for yourself and push yourself from that aspect. What things do you have on your plate that you really want to accomplish?
absolutely. I've talked to the coaches about this, and it's just like I want to get down there on the right foot, and I want to get down there, and I just want to play baseball. Like I just want to be a guy that goes in there, works hard. I want to throw good in the fall, and then hopefully get some innings as a freshman, obviously. But I feel like the main thing with me is just getting there and kind of outworking everybody else. Even though I mean I've met pretty much all the guys, and they're all my buddies, but I want to be the hardest worker that goes down there.
So the maturity process that we saw happen at Salem High School, what things do you still think that you can work on at the college level and get better at and be a better teammate and be a better player and hopefully put yourself in position to have your name called someday?
Yeah, I'd say it's more mentally. Like I said earlier, the uncontrollable things. Even this year, like beginning, middle of the year, if we'd make an error or something, I'd kind of get down on myself and stuff would kind of spiral. So I'd say just focusing on the stuff I can control.
All right. So naturally, you're moving down to a different state. What are you going to miss most about Northeast Ohio?
Oh, I'd say I don't know. I mean, it's kind of similar there. It's pretty similar. I mean, weather wise and all that, but maybe it's obviously just like going to be around all my family and friends but weather and everything else like that, it's pretty similar. So
All right. Food wise. All right. You're talking to the fat kid. What kind of food are you going to miss up here that you won't get down there?
I don't even know what they have down there. Hopefully they have like canes because if they don't have canes, that would be a problem.
What about pizza? Aren't you a pizza guy?
I mean, yeah, but I'm sure they'll have pizza down there somewhere.
Oh, dude, listen, this is what you don't understand. Pizza here is different. It
Is
is
it
just, oh, it's another level. You're gonna go down there, and I'm telling you, you might find a place that's kind of like someplace here,
gonna be
but
disappointed?
you're set up for disappointment, man. You are going to come back here and eat all the pizza you possibly can on break. So all right, last question for you. We've talked about your role models before. You come from an unbelievable family, a family that I am so incredibly proud of and love so very much. For you, what things are you so proud of your family, and what traits from mom and from dad and from your brother are you so proud to carry on with you down in Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I mean, everybody in my family is just a hard worker, and they're always like determined. Like if they have something on their plate, like they're gonna get it done. And I feel like with my brother going through obviously all his recruiting process and stuff in COVID, and just always having one goal, that was obviously the biggest thing with him, and that always kind of pushed me to work harder and be better.
And how about a shout out one time for Uncle Derek, who's been with you from pillar to post, man, and
Yeah,
who has loved on you from the YSN standpoint. And he's been fair. I'll give it to him. He's been absolutely fair, but he's been a
absolutely.
great voice of Salem. How about a little shout out for Uncle Derek?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Shout out to him for always coming to every game, always doing all the home games for you guys and stuff. Andy runs our game changer, so that's always big.
He's a stallion. He's a stallion. Dude, you are a stud. You are the flamethrower, the rocket. We will never forget you. We will root for you always. Thank you so much for what you've done the last 4 years to help the program, to help baseball grow in this area, and certainly what you've done for YSN. We can't thank you enough. We will always be your biggest fans here, dude.
Yes, sir. Thank you, DJ. I appreciate it.
You got it. We'll see you.
Yep. See ya.